Crypto presents exciting new opportunities for the investment-minded, but it's also volatile and accelerating in complexity. That's why we created Token Metrics, an intelligent crypto platform backed by an industry-leading combination of data, AI, and media that feeds optimized portfolios to crypto investors. Featuring Token Metrics ratings to help you find the best investment opportunities in real time, an indices page that showcases various model portfolios, and deep insights into price predictions and technical analysis. A dedicated NFT dashboard that evaluates NFT collections and assets by our machine learning algorithm to find the most profitable and secure NFTs across all available blockchains. Plus, with access to Token Metrics TV, monitor 24/7 exclusive crypto news and analysis. Whether you're a first-time trader or a seasoned crypto investor, you can stay informed and in control, backed by your all-in-one crypto companion, Token Metrics. Take control of crypto today at Token Metrics.
Hello, crypto family. Happy New Year. Hope you're having a great, happy holidays. We're back. Let's cue the music.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Wow. This is officially the last live stream, the last stream of 2022. We are now heading into 2023. Stay tuned. We're going to go through, answer all your questions regarding crypto, and especially any predictions we have for 2023 when it comes to Bitcoin, the crypto market, Ethereum, and of course, your favorite altcoin. All right, with that being said, let me give you all the Minty code. If you go to minty.com, MENTI.com, use the code 5290-6349. That's 5290-6349. Gaurav, could you please pull up my screen? That'll make it easier for people to see what I'm doing. And I can also put the code in the chat. Just give me a few seconds here. But happy Friday, everybody. Actually, I can't post in the chat. Okay, here, I'll have the producer post it in the chat. Or you can, if easier, you just scan this, and this will give you access to submit any questions you have regarding the crypto market for 2023. All right, so let's see who was first on the stream. Let's do some quick shout outs. So, BK Crypto, Brooklyn Crypto in the house. What's going on? Hatem, what's going on? Alpha Diallo, a long time no see. Good to have you here. Do I still have, hold on, let me see here. Actually, I'm sorry, I missed some people here. Fares from Montreal, what's up? Mike from Peru, what's going on? AZ, good to see you. Alpha Diallo is saying, do I still own my Rolls Royce? No, actually. It was shortly owned. I sold it. I only lost about 20K on it. And I put basically half of it into TM Ventures to basically have skin in the game. And I put about half of it into AstroDAO. What's up, Pat? Good to have you here. Eddie, what's going on? Is Wonderland dead? Yes, I believe so. I think they almost shut down. But basically, it crashed. Let's see here. Yeah, wish Bill Noble the best. Yeah, meet up in Brooklyn, New York. We're working on that. I have to check if I got the email, BK Crypto. Good afternoon, Motivation. Good to have you here. Ashok from India. The Cedar from Germany. What's up? Guten Tag. I believe is that the right way to say it in German? Salute, Akin. JTG Invest from the Bahamas. All right. Stefan from the UK. Welcome. Definitely make sure to tell a friend that next week is a new year in crypto. So we got new crypto price predictions. We're here to help answer any questions you have. Do us a favor, share the stream with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Not being in crypto, even in times like this, is a financial crime. Yes, it is still a financial crime. Make sure to follow us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and our podcast. Did you know Token Metrics had a podcast? Yes. Be sure to follow us on the podcast and get us on the go when you're driving, working out, listening to tokemetrics, to sound bites, and let me actually get. And I forgot to mention. Just give me 1 second here. Also, we got a book, Crypto Investing Guide, for myself and the Tokenmetrics team on how to invest in crypto. Available on Amazon, has over 300 reviews. It's highly rated. Of course, we're biased, but I think this is the best blueprint to start investing in crypto. It gives you our entire process on how to research projects from fundamentals and technology and how to properly allocate your portfolio. All right, with that being said, let's hop into the live stream. It's saying voting is closed. Let me open up voting. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's go through the agenda we have. That's the Minty code. So we've done the audience welcome. We're going to go through, give my outlook on the market. Then we'll go through our coins of the month for next month for January. Basically, we're trying to start the month off hot, then answer question of the day. And then we'll have the ask me anything where you can ask me anything. Okay, all right. So that being said, let me move all this stuff out of the way. All right, so we got crypto market update. So we're gonna go through. Actually, I forgot one thing. We have a huge announcement. We launched the technology grade on Tokenmetrics. The email went out to our customers, but basically for those wondering, what is the technology grade, right? So most of you are aware, we use AI, basically artificial intelligence, machine learning, to rate crypto assets. Think of us as the Bloomberg for crypto, but AI driven, or even kind of like the Moody or like a credit scoring agency for crypto assets in real time. So we have both the trader grade and the investor grade. But something we've been working on is how do you figure out what projects are technologies have good technology, right? Is that technology sound? Well, let's go to Solana, for example. So I'm going to open up Solana, and a new feature we've been working on is how to automatically audit the security and the code and the technology of crypto assets. So typically, we would have our code reviews where our blockchain engineer would go out and create reports auditing the code. Well, guess what? We have now automated that whole process. This has been lots of work in the making, but now if you go to Tokenmetrics on over hundreds of crypto assets, if you go to investor and you go to technology, we have automated the process of giving you a grade on a crypto asset based on development activity, based on security and audit. So have there been any hacks? Do they have a bug bounty? Do they have audits, security audits? And the quality of the code. So we go through and we actually, using our technology, we audit the code in an automated fashion, doing code analysis, looking for vulnerabilities, looking to see how complex the code is, looking for the code quality and how clean the code is. So all of this has been automated. So you don't have to be a developer to figure out whether or not a project has good technology. So based on these three subgrades, so developer activity. So if you go on GitHub on their repository on that's open source, how involved are the developers, right? Do they regularly update the code? Are there lots of other developers adding to that code or adding to that project? Is it active? Is there a good community? So all these different metrics have been automated, and we distill this into one single grade called the technology grade. So highly encourage you check this out. This is something we've been looking to add to the platform. We had it briefly, but it wasn't as powerful as it is now. Now we've added so many different data points, right? Being able to tell you whether a project has audits is crucial in crypto. Being able to tell you whether a project has been hacked or whether it has a bug bounty, all these data points matter. So in terms of how this is weighted, about 2/3 of the grade is more towards developer activity, because where developers go is typically where the value accrues in crypto in terms of developer ecosystems. And then the rest is also looking at the security, the audits, and the code quality. So as you see here, technology for Solana is 87%. Let's go through and look at some other crypto assets to kind of give you an idea. So let's look at Aptos, actually. Aptos is a new cryptocurrency that has launched. So we're going to do this on the fly. So we go to investor, technology, 93%. Wow. Okay. So lots of development activity on Aptos, and security and audit score is high. Code quality, we have no grade for this. I don't believe it's open source. That's why. I guess they haven't open sourced their code just yet, but this is a good sign, right? So let's pick some other cryptocurrency. Let's look at Umi, which is basically building DeFi for Cosmos and the Cosmos ecosystem. So if we go to investor, technology. Okay, so we have technology grade is 65%. Lots of development activity, but scored low on security and audits. Okay, so definitely worth looking into this to see why this scored low. But definitely tell us what you think down below. Let us know if you're excited for the technology grade. And then if you go to summary, so we've been working with GPT-3 for the last 1 year or so, and now we've added automated investment reports for different crypto assets. So when you come in here, using our own data and GPT-3, we're building automated summaries for different crypto assets. So it takes the data we have here and tries to give you a summary in words, in human language, what that means. So definitely tell us what you think about that down below. All right, so definitely pumped for that. But now, going to the crypto market update. Where do we view the market going currently? So I like to start with the market page. This is basically the market indicator. And surprise, surprise, we're still in a bearish market. This has not changed. Looking at this, basically since November, if I actually zoom out to the whole year, this is how the market has been going, right? So very few grades are bullish, bull and bear, only about 10% on the gauge. So times are not looking good, but there is still value to be found. There's still tradable opportunities to be found in this market. Looking at this here, we're basically still in Bitcoin season. It is not altcoin season yet. So we're in a risk-off environment heading into 2023. And looking at this, all the sector grades are pretty low, the highest being Web3, but even that is relatively low. In terms of top performers, okay, I see Solana is up 15%. Okay, that's a big surprise. Has Solana bottomed? Let me know what you think down below. We'll get to that as one of the coins of the month. And I'll tell you what I think about that. And looking at market activity here for any outliers and seeing here, for some reason, the old Aave is pumping. I'm not sure why that's happening. Definitely worth looking into. Okay, so that's the first part. Now let's see if we can find any alpha in this risk-off bearish environment. So even though we're being very, very conservative, we are still looking for some alpha. So going to the platform here, beginning with a trader grade, which is basically a short-term trading grade, the first thing I look at is what has a grade over 80%. And looking at this, we have Pax Gold. So market is still bearish. People are looking for ways to hedge out of altcoins. So we have Pax Gold, we have iExec, we have Monero, we have Gami, we have Velo, and we have all this, right? So I want to share with you one thing that kind of intrigued me was Velo. I shared this on the customer webinar we had on Wednesday. But using the platform, we can still basically snipe, find different opportunities to snipe and see where the market is going, right? So I'm going to pull this up in iExec and Monero. And this is how I personally use the platform to try to see if there's any way to trade the market and using the trader grade. All right, so as this is pulling up here, and Venkat's saying is so $5 is the bottom. Not sure. We can definitely dive into that. But let's begin with Velo, right? Because I think this has done pretty well in the last month or so, despite the bearish market. So prior to this, I had not heard of this token at all. So definitely trade with your own risk. What comes to mind immediately is circulating supply is basically about 5 million or 5 billion rather. Total supply about 24 billion. So basically about 20% of the supply is liquid. So this tells me there's going to be a lot of inflation in this crypto asset. So long term, probably not worth holding in your portfolio. Too much inflation. So right now, this is definitely just purely a trading opportunity based on the trader grade. Going down to this, I see that it turned bullish on Christmas, December 25th. So even though we're in the market, the signal here turned bullish. TM trader grade is over 80%, which is also bullish. And looking at this, it is up over 50% in the last 1 month. Okay, very interesting. Although it is down, and yeah, so it's down almost 99% in the last 1 year. So this makes you think, is this a pump and dump? What's going on here? Right, so here we have the TA grade as a subgrade, breaking down the trader grade. The quant metrics, not so good. I noticed that it's on some well-known exchanges, BitHum, Huobi, OKX, and KuCoin, but lots of liquidity on BitDump over here, which is a Korean exchange. If you see here the Korean one, which tells me Korea seems to be pumping this token, which makes me think, is this a pump and dump from Korea? Now, as mentioned before, I had not heard of this, but if we go to their Twitter, I always like to go to Twitter and see why a particular altcoin is pumping, even though we're in a risk-off environment. So we have pulled this up here. So let's see, did they mention any news here? Okay, this is a post from December. I'm seeing a Christmas post. Okay, see they got 3 new listings: Huobi, Crypto.com, and Poloniex. They spelled that wrong. I see here they raised 50 million to fuel the development of the Velo protocols technology. Okay, not sure whether that was recently or a while back, but anyway, I like to just search based on cash tags. So we're going to put this into Twitter. So pulling this up here. Okay, so I see top optimism DeFi projects by active users in the last 30 days. Okay, so this tells me this is a project building on optimism. And we've covered optimism before. Great technology, but overvalued. It basically has VC Ponzonomics. Valuation is way too high. There'll be too much inflation. Only about 4% of the tokens are liquid. That means 96% of the supply has to hit the market, and there'll be lots of selling pressure from insiders and VCs. Okay, so this was Velo. I think this is Velodrome. So looking at this, this is the third most active project on Optimism. Okay, very, very interesting. All right, so maybe are people playing this looking to mine Optimism, or I'm sorry, looking to get part of the Optimism airdrop? Definitely worth putting on a watch list to look into. But in a market like this, because I know we've covered GMX and Arbitrum and how people are potentially using Arbitrum projects to try to potentially earn the Arbitrum airdrop. People are speculating that there'll be an airdrop. So maybe this is part of it. I'm seeing a post here from DeFi Riddler. CRV and Velo have changed the DeFi scene forever, but they have their flaws. Okay, so I guess he's comparing this, basically Curve and Velo. All right, so for anybody who has an interest in Optimism ecosystem, this could be a coin worth looking into, but it has pumped a lot. Question is the pump over? Is it not over? Looking at this, it's saying it's not over yet, but we are in a risk-off environment, so definitely worth looking into. But that's one way to potentially find coins to trade or snipe. Going on to Pax Gold. Pax Gold has been pretty flat, but in a time like this, that's a good hedge. So in the last 30 days, it's up about 4.5%. So it's basically acting like a stable coin. It's been a great store of value all year long, right? It hasn't lost any value in the last 1 year, but it's relatively illiquid. So I think the way we're playing this is we use Pax Gold as a store of value. So let's say you want to diversify and go into stable coins. Also, I think having some gold exposure through Pax G, because as you see here, it's been a good store of value in the last 1 year for crypto. So definitely worth looking into that. Now, let's go to iExec. Trader grade also high. Signal here also bullish. That's good confluence. It's lost about 60% of its value in the last 1 year, but the last 30 days, it's gone up about 17%. So there are ways to potentially trade this market for those of you who are still in the market trading. Moving on to the next one, Monero. Monero TM grade 86%. Signal also turned bullish on the 4th of December. And this actually stands out to me. So in the last 1 year, it's only lost 31% of its value. So for an altcoin, for a large cap altcoin, Monero has actually been a good store of value relative to other altcoins. If you compare this to Ethereum, which is down 75%, compare this to Solana, which is down 95%. If you compare this to Avalanche, which is down 90%. If you compare this to Bitcoin, which is down, I believe, 66%. So privacy coins have been a good store of value for those of you maybe who are into privacy. So basically, you're better off holding Monero than Bitcoin, which is pretty interesting, right? Bitcoin is down 65% actually. So definitely worth keeping an eye on that. Then last coin, we talked about Umi. Umi is down 16% in the last 30 days. Fundamental grade. So not sure if I mentioned this as well. We also launched a new fundamental grade. For those of you who want, I think having both fundamental grade and technology grade high lets you know a product is potentially ready to do very, very well, right? And it's a good long-term investment. So for instance, if we go to investor tab, fundamental has these data points. So basically we have usage. So we're tracking web traffic and actual wallets to see how actively used a product is. The exchange is on, the investors. So what VCs are backing them? Do they have a good track record in terms of performance? The community, their tokenomics, the team. So all these factor into the fundamental grade. So that's one way I would use token metrics to find ways to snipe the market, right? So what really stands out was Velo, but I think the money might have already been made, but worth keeping an eye on this. And we talked about Monero, privacy coins, and Pax Gold, right? So that's one way. Let's shift now to investor grade, which is more of a long-term grade, and see if we can find anything that stands out, right? So, okay, so I noticed here, we have lots of new projects that are over 80%, meaning that they're rated very highly. So let's go through the whole list, right? So we've got Scylla Network, we have Tron, IoTex. Okay, I see Tron is up 34%. Okay, very interesting. Let me pull this up here. IoTex, let's pull that up. Ren, I know Ren, there was some news on Twitter. I think they were shutting down or something. If anybody knows who's been keeping tabs on Ren, let me know down below in the comments. Cartesi, Ethereum at 83%. Has Ethereum bottomed? We have Compound, Aave, Anchor, Kyber, Trust Wallet, Aragon, Multiverse X, formerly Elrond. Let's actually pull that up. We have Maker, Origin, and we have Polygon Network. Actually, here, let me actually add a filter. Actually, let's see here. You want to see projects that have changed by more than 10% in the last 1 week, because investor grade updates weekly because it's more of a long-term grade. So I want to see what crypto assets are trending up. And basically right now the mindset is we're building a watch list for crypto assets that we think have potentially bottomed or are close to hitting the bottom. Now, timing the bottom is almost impossible. The goal is to get about 80% of the way there. So we're going to use tokenomics to see what projects we think have potentially bottomed. All right, so we're looking at Tron. Let me switch to investor grade. So we had the investor grade at 85%. Let's see what that entails. Okay, so we have usage is high. It's on well-known exchanges. Volatility is high. Community is high. Performance, ROI potential is low. It's a large cap. Team is high. Tokenomics is high. Now, one thing to note though, Tron has been alleged to fake their activity. So I'll let you figure out what that means. So take this with a grain of salt. But looking at this with the new technology grade we have here, they have lots of developer activity. This is basically activity on GitHub, and code quality is good. Security audit, we don't have any data for this right now, but looking at this now, I'm going to shift to the trader grade and see how Tron has fared this year. So, okay, so despite all the FUD and all the hate Tron gets, it is down less than 30% this year. So comparing this versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, you were actually better off having your money in Tron, funny to believe, versus Bitcoin, versus Ethereum, versus Solana. So that's actually pretty eye-opening, pretty fascinating, actually. So I think that's why our system has it with a high investor grade, because relative to other altcoins, it's been a good store of value. I mean, you basically would have lost 3 times more money holding Solana versus holding Tron. And you would have lost twice as much holding Bitcoin versus holding Tron. So this is where having a data-driven approach can be pretty eye-opening. Now, if you're trading this, though, it did turn bearish yesterday, looking at this. But on the long term, maybe having some exposure to Tron to diversify your portfolio, and if you want to be in the market and not be in stablecoins, definitely worth keeping an eye on this. I think that's pretty fascinating. If we go to correlation, looking at this, Binance is heavily correlated to Tron. I know there's been rumors about Justin Sun and CZ working together, basically being in cahoots with each other, because I know some Tron was sent to Binance when the whole Binance FUD was happening, but interesting to see there's a high correlation between the two. Monero as well, and Ethereum and Aptos. Okay, so that's Tron. Let's go to IoTex. So if we go to this, investor grade was high. Performance for this in the last 30 days is down 9%. Okay, this is very fascinating. Okay, so this has all the grades are over 80%. All right, so fundamental over 80%, valuation grade over 80%, and technology over 80%, almost 90%. So looking at, if we drill down into the fundamentals here, what jumps out to me is the ROI potential is pretty good, and all these other metrics are pretty good. Performance, not so good. If we go to technology for IoTex, developer activity is very, very high. Code quality is not the best, and we don't have any audit or security information. But I think definitely worth putting on a watch list. For those who don't know, IoTex is basically an IoT blockchain. Looking at this, market cap is slightly under 200 million. FDV, also under 200 million. So most of the tokens are already liquid. So we know there won't be too much inflation hitting the market. So basically, this is under 200 million FDV, L1, with lots of developer activity. So going to the website here, it says connecting the real world to Web3. Join our journey to power billions of devices and decentralized applications across the physical and digital world. But definitely worth putting on a bear market watch list and worth doing more research into this. But looking at this is basically telling me that this is potentially undervalued. It's basically an IoT, IoTex blockchain. So basically IoT devices. So the question is, do you think this could do well? But looking at this, I think worth keeping an eye on this, just based on, if I go back here, all these grades being over 80, and basically having great tokenomics and a very low FDV. This could potentially maybe, let's say we're targeting next market cycle. This could do maybe a 5 or 10x. So that's why this has a strong buy, actually. Not financial advice, but definitely worth keeping an eye on this. All right, so moving on to Cortese. Okay, Cortese has good fundamentals high valuation grade, decent technology. Okay, so definitely worth looking into this. But yeah, I recommend everybody goes through and check out the new grades we have for fundamental and technology. But looks like these are projects worth watching. Now let's shift over to a large cap that we like to cover all the time, Ethereum. So the question is, has Ethereum bottomed? Well, investor grade is up 10%. Going to this high fundamental grade and high technology grade. If we shift to technology here, okay, lots of developer activity, obviously, for ETH. We don't have the audit and security information. Our code quality is actually low, surprisingly here. Might be because they have lots of repositories. Going to fundamentals. Yeah, it scored very low on ROI potential because basically the money has already been made on ETH. ETH is basically just a large cap. It's the next Bitcoin, or it's the new Bitcoin rather. So the returns won't be as high for Ethereum. But if we actually shift to looking at the trader chart, yeah, so ETH is down almost 70%. So I mean, maybe looking at the investor grade, this tells me now might be a good time to start accumulating Ethereum. Because I mean, it was pretty high, and now it's gone down a lot. So I think maybe now could be a time to start accumulating Ethereum. But I still think we could potentially go lower. But right now, I think ETH is becoming undervalued. Now going to Multiverse X. I'm not sure why they changed to this weird name, but basically this was all around. So good fundamental grade, good technology grade. Valuation grade is not the best. So basically, might be slightly overvalued, or rather, it's not as undervalued as we would like for an L1 relative to other L1s. So for instance, FTV of over $1 billion versus IoTeX, which has an FTV under 200 million. And then shifting over to, last but not least, on the list we had Polygon. So going to Polygon here. High fundamental grade. They've been doing pretty well with fundamentals. Technology grade, also very high, but valuation grade is very, very low. So, I mean, the returns won't be as high for Polygon because it's already done well, right? It was a 100x return last cycle. But okay, so those are the tokens basically on the watch list. So actually, let me go to Seller Network. I don't think we covered that one. That was number one for a reason. So let's see what is jumping out to us regarding Seller. Yeah, DCF says Ren is dead, shutting down because of the FTX debacle. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I was hearing something about that on Twitter. So now the question is, are they dead? Are there going to be any forks? So definitely worth keeping an eye on that. Okay, so Seller Network, which was rated high for a particular reason. Looking at this, okay, interesting. So fundamental grade is over 80, valuation grade over 80, and technology grade over 80. So 80 is all across the board. Okay, let me drill down into this and see how it's scoring. Okay, so we're getting lots of usage data. So actually, let me investigate something real quick. DApp data. DApp is one of our data providers where we get on-chain data for dApps. So let me actually look at this and see if we're seeing something regarding Seller Network. Okay, this is showing us historical activity. All right, so we've got, I'm guessing UAW is probably unique active wallets, and then transactions and volume. Okay, so looking at this, it basically kind of went down in summertime, early fall, and looks like transactions went up a lot in November. So it looks like it's kind of been ramping upwards. So maybe is that what it's picking up? Now, let me actually now go to Twitter. See if there's anything that's jumping out on social media. So Seller, SELR. Okay, looking at this, so they're also on Optimism, and they're also on Polkadot. Okay, so this is what top Polkadot ecosystem coins by social activity. Okay, so Lunar Crash has them as number 2 in terms of Polkadot ecosystem coins based on social activity. Okay, that's interesting. Then because somebody's saying Sil Network will be the layer 2 solution following Polygon that thrives in the next cycle. Okay, so let me actually, let's actually look further into Seller. Let's pull up the website here. All right, so it says blockchain is connected, every dApp, every asset, every user. All right, interesting. What is Seller? Seller is a blockchain interoperability protocol enabling a one-click user experience, accessing tokens, DeFi, GameFi, NFTs, governance, and more. Developers can build interchain native dApps using the Seller Interchain Message SDK. Sounds kind of like Cosmos, to gain access to efficient liquidity. So basically, it's bridging apps across different blockchains. So I see here Arbitrum, Ethereum, Polygon, and Optimism. Okay, so definitely worth looking into this. So multi-blockchain asset bridge, layer 2 finance. Okay, so maybe if we're looking to play the whole multi-chain narrative, which we've covered before, that could be one of the big narratives for the next market cycle, because we talked about layer 0, Celestia, Polkadot, Avalanche subnets, XLR, right? So let's say one of the big narratives we're betting on for next market cycle is interoperability and multi-chain world, layer 2 with Arbitrum Optimism. Maybe Seller could be one of those tokens or projects worth looking into for that big narrative. So definitely going to put this on our watch list. You can actually send this to our team. Worth looking into. Give me 1 second here. Basically, that's how I use the platform to try to find alpha, right? So we've gone through basically how we find projects for looking into, doing further research, because basically tokenmetrics is abstracting and trying to find areas for you to focus on, and then you go through and do further research, right? So I wouldn't blindly just follow everything, but out of the thousands of crypto assets out there, it's trying to give you a handful that are worth looking into, right? So the key insights that jump to mind from the investor grade are Seller Network has the highest investor grade, telling me that this is worth looking into if we're looking to play the multi-chain narrative. Surprisingly, Tron has performed better in the last 1 year than Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other L1s, which is very, very surprising despite the FUD Tron gets. IoTex Basically undervalued IoT blockchain, kind of like Helium, but different. Helium is migrating to Solana. Then Ethereum. Ethereum having a high grade tells me now might be the time to start accumulating ETH. ETH has potentially bottomed, right? But yeah, that's how I would play this from a long-term investor perspective. And then from short-term trading, basically, if I have stablecoins, maybe consider adding Pax Gold as a hedge, where it's not a stablecoin, but it has acted like a stablecoin. It's been a great store of value, hasn't lost value in the last 1 year. So a good way to kind of have additional exposure. Maybe if you're scared of the FUD around Tether, around BUSD, around USDC, and all these other stablecoins, maybe Pax Gold worth looking into, although liquidity is very low, only 10 million in the last 24 hours. And then Monero. So privacy coins. You're better off holding Monero than holding Bitcoin or ETH or Solana. So maybe if you want to still have some exposure to alts, maybe look into privacy coins, specifically Monero over here. And then we talked about Velo. I think the money could already be made, but it was up 50% in the last 1 month. Actually, on Wednesday during our customer webinar, it was up over 100% in the last 1 month. So it's actually gone down. It's corrected. As you see here, the grade has gone down. But I mean, although we're in a risk-off environment, there are still opportunities to find money-making opportunities in crypto, right? We can still be snipers. We have to be very intentional with how we're doing it, and we can use tokenmetrics to do just that. All right, so let me take a pause and check the comments and see how we're doing. But if you like me doing walkthroughs on how to use the platform, let me know what you think. Give me feedback. Hey, what's up, Samir? Blessings to you as well. What do I think about Link? I'll look into that. Harmony. Yeah, so basically submit all the questions you have to the Mentimeter. That way we can have the whole audience vote on it, and we can go through and basically see what people want me to answer the most. That way we prioritize how to offer the most value to everybody watching this live stream. So we covered Ethereum. So Ethereum basically has potentially bottomed. Not financial advice, right? But looking at the investor grade, maybe a good time to start accumulating some ETH. And then we've covered coins to look at, right? Seller came to mind. We didn't really cover Bitcoin. Let's go to Bitcoin real quick. Trader grade is low. Investor grade is 74%. Looking at this, good technology, or fundamental grade, not that high actually, which is interesting. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, ROI potential scored very, very low. And performance scored very, very low. So basically, you're better off holding other crypto assets versus holding Bitcoin. I'm going to have to look into this. Not sure why this is low. But basically, you're better off holding, you were better off holding Monero and Tron versus holding Bitcoin. I mean, imagine telling that to a Bitcoin maximalist. All right, so the question is, are you here to be a maximalist, or are you here to, one, not lose money, and two, make money? So I think this is how a data-driven approach can help you figure out what you value the most. Okay, so going back to this, let's move on to the next section. All right, so we've got coin of the month for January. So we've gone through and basically picked different L1s and an L2 in Polygon. And let us know what you think. What do you think is a coin of the month? The options we have are Polygon, Solana, Polkadot, Cardano, and Avalanche. What coin do you think will have the best January 2023? It's a new year, new coin. So let me know what you think. Also, let me know down below in the comments. Okay, let me go through the comments again and see where we are. Yes, Bill's not with Tokenmetrics anymore. We wish him the best. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Wishing everybody new moons and new 100Xs in 2023. All right, we'll be here together looking for those 100X returns. Love Lost says, this is so helpful. Thank you so much for walking us through. I definitely appreciate you guys liking that. I'll be here every week doing things like that. Looks rare. Happy holidays. Okay, all right. So let's look at all these coins. So we've looked at, I think I had Polygon open, right? Was it? Okay. So let's begin with Polygon. Okay, so what coin do we think will have the best month next month, January? So first, I begin with the trader grade. Trader grade is low. Looking at this, it is bearish since December 16th, basically. It's down 10% in the last 1 month, 70% in the last 1 year. So trading this, not ideal, but investor grade is high, 80%. Good fundamentals, good technology, but the valuation is low. So this tells me I view Polygon essentially as the next Ethereum. So the question is, do you want the next Ethereum or do you want the next Polygon? But if we're looking just at January 2023, Polygon might not be it, just because I would look at trader grade for just a 1 month return. If we're thinking long term, I don't think Polygon is going to rug pull you or be a scam. That's why it has a good investor grade, although the valuation is high, 7.5 billion. Okay, all right. So next up, Solana. So Solana has been getting hammered. Solana going to do well in January. Looking at this, Solana is down about 30% last month, 94% in the last 1 year. Our signals turned bearish from Solana at $23.91, basically, back in November 8th. So it has been getting killed. All right. Then let's shift to investor grade. Investor grade 75%. It's actually up 16%. Good technology grade. Fundamental grade is all right. Valuation grade is low. Basically telling me if you're looking to invest in an L1, it's still overvalued long term. So this could probably go lower. Or you're basically better off trying to find the next Solana, not the current Solana, is what this tells me. But let's actually say you want to trade this. If we go to our support levels, this is helpful for traders. So let's say we're looking at this so let's say how low can Solana go, right? It's currently at 950-ish. If it's going to bounce back, it's going to go to 990. And then, but I mean, I'm seeing it can go as low as 69 cents. Might not be good for people to hear that, but I mean, historically, it's been down there before. That's like below ICO price. But let's, because we're not really seeing much of support levels. Because yeah, it went from like 260 all the way down. It's just been going through every support level. So I mean, I would wait it out, because 990, then 1812. I don't think it's going to go there. If we actually go back to Matic, let's look at its support levels. So Matic is at 75 cents. In terms of where this could go, we've got, so we had 76 cents, which it's gone through. We've got 49 cents and 43 cents. But we've got 62 cents over here as well. We're working on making this a better UI with better charts, and then also adding this to the top of the gauge here, so you guys can have all the target levels for it going up and it going down. But let's say we want to hold this next month. The target would be basically 93 cents, looking at this, and $1. All All right, so we've covered the first two. Let's go to Polkadot, then we'll do Cardano and Avalanche. Okay, so going to Polkadot. Now, Polkadot has good tokenomics, as we've covered in the past. The trader grade is low. It's been bearish since November 9th. Down almost 84% in the last 1 year. Down almost 20% in the last month. If we're looking at targets for Polkadot for next month, going from basically $4.30, where is this potentially going next? All right, so we've got, if it goes down, we've got support level at 369. If it goes up, 681. All right, that's interesting. Now, if we're going to the investor grade, good fundamentals, almost good technology grade. Valuation has a low grade because all these large caps will have pretty low valuation grades because the money's already been made. You're better off getting into altcoins, like low cap altcoins. Those would have a low cap alt with great technology and great fundamentals with a low FDV will have a high valuation grade, meaning that it's deeply undervalued. But most large caps won't really have a huge valuation grade. All right, let's go to ADA. I know the Cardano army has been very, very ecstatic forever about Cardano, but can Cardano have a good month? I mean, all of these are still bearish. On the trading side, it's bearish. Down 81% in the last 1 year, 21% in the last month. Investor grade is actually up 22%. Okay, very interesting. That gets my attention. Same thing, low valuation grade because it's large cap. Technology, very, very good. Fundamental, good. In terms of where this could go, going to the levels. And currently at 24 cents. Let me see here. Yeah, so if it drops lower, we've got 18 cents and 14 cents as targets. And we said it's at basically 25 cents. If it goes up, the targets would be 30 cents and 38 cents. All right. Then last one was Avalanche. Okay, yeah, all these have very low trader grades, and all of them have been bearish since basically November 9th. Avalanche is down 90% in the last 1 year, 14% in the last 1 month. If we go to its levels, so in terms of where this can go, we've got, it's basically at about $10.70, 76. We've got 952 as one level. After that, we've got 353. Wow. So basically, if it goes lower, if it goes through that, it can go way down. Then if it goes up, we've got 1435 as a level, and then 2381 as the next level. So I mean, it's tough to see which one is going to have the good month, but I think so. There's too much FUD, and we have to see what's going to happen with the 10% of the supply that's owned by FTX Alameda. Because we know today, I think today or last night, SPF was allegedly selling from different wallets his holdings. Polygon, we have Polkadot, Cardano. Let me see what you guys think. What do you guys have in the comments? Krypton is saying, look at GoKey, a project running on Cardano. Let me just go through these comments. Why is my screen blurry? The screen should not be blurry. This should be in HD. I would check the settings on the stream. Do I have a video on how to go about finding a good coin to invest in? Yes, we have them on the channel. If you just search basically how to use tokenmetrics to invest or to make money or not lose money. And then even beginning of the stream, I kind of walked through how I use tokenmetrics to find trading opportunities and also long-term projects to do further research into. All right, so, but based on the community's vote, people watching this live stream, their pick for coin of the month, drum rolls, please.
We just landed on the moon and the land.
Polygon. Polygon is still loved by the community. And Polygon's actually fared pretty well in this market cycle. In the last month or so, it's done all right. And the BizDev has been doing well. So the community has voted Polygon as the winner for coin of the month for January, followed by Solana, surprisingly. Does this mean the bottom is in for Solana? It's down 95% from all-time high. I mean, maybe now's the time to start accumulating. We have all these, we had use and DeGods moving to Ethereum and Polygon. So basically the top NFT projects for Solana have been migrating. So if we go to CryptoSlam, which is a good platform for getting NFT data. So if we look at NFTs by blockchains, so here we got DeGod, the fourth NFT collection by sales volume in the last 24 hours from Solana is migrating and leaving the Solana ecosystem. Then we had Ute as well. All right, so will Solana survive is the question. I think so, but short term, I am bearish Solana. All right, so because the fund, first of all, the price is getting wrecked. Then this additional selling pressure with tokens coming from FTX Alameda, and developer activity is down. TVL data is down. If we go to DeFi Llama and we look at TVL, I mean, it's getting kind of embarrassing at this point. Let me see. If you go to DeFi chains, because Solana was meant to be the Ethereum killer. It was meant to be the next Ethereum. But I mean, look at this. I mean, Tron only has 14 protocols, but the TVL is high. It's probably all just Justin Sun and his whale group. But Solana is now 12th in TVL. I mean, you have Mixin and DeFi Chain. Who's heard of those projects? With only 2 protocols that have more TVL than Solana's 91. Then you have the top NFT projects migrating over. So this could look like it's the end of Solana, but I'll tell you, it is not. We're not done with Sol. If anything, this could be potentially a buying opportunity for the long term, because you want to buy when people are forced sellers. You want to buy when there's blood in the streets, when people think it's the end of the world. This is the key to making money in crypto. Well, any market in general, right? You want to buy when there's blood in the streets, when people think it's the end of the world, it's over, it's all going to hell, because you get the best discounts. You buy products that have good value at a steep discount, which is called deep value investing. And you hold those projects for the next cycle, and you basically sell those projects at a huge profit to people who think it's going to the moon and beyond. And this, even though it's the top and the thing is going to go even higher, that's the definition of buy low, sell high, right? So if you want to visualize that, it's basically buy when there's blood in the streets, buy when people are forced sellers, and then you want to hold and sell to people who are ecstatic, who think it's never going to end. So you basically buy low and sell at the top. So maybe this could be the bottom. I mean, when top NFT projects from Solana are leaving Solana, and it's down 95%. So if you're ever going to be bullish on Solana, now could actually be the time when it's basically down from all-time high. Because here's the thing: Solana has a lot of funding. They're well capitalized. Even the price of Solana is crashing. They still have enough runway, I believe, for several years, and they could potentially even raise more capital. So I don't view them going away anytime soon. The only hit they're getting, though, is through the developer ecosystem. If developers leave and go to other chains, so let's say you're building in Rust, right? Would you want to stay on Solana if it's getting pummeled, or would you want to go to other chains like Sui, Aptos, or even other app chains, Say Network, or even Ethereum, like Utes and DeGod did, right? Maybe you go to Polygon or Ethereum or Arbitrum or Optimism. So all that is something to factor into it. But my take is I am bearish short term on Solana, but still bullish in the long term. So if anything, I would look to potentially start accumulating. Actually, I wouldn't start accumulating SOL right now, but I would have it on my watch list. We have shaders on our watch list, right? So I would just go to SOL, as mentioned, and this is how I would play Solana. We're gonna give you the blueprint. So I would come here. TM investor grade is 75%. I would basically wait for this TM investor grade to hit 80% and then begin to potentially accumulate SOL. Right. So as mentioned here, right, technology is still good, fundamental is still good, valuation grade could be better, but basically our bet is Solana at an FTV of 5 billion. We would target, okay, this could potentially do a 10x next market cycle if it bounces back. So basically, I'll be playing Solana as the next Ethereum. I'm not saying it's going to be the next Ethereum, but I'm saying it could bounce back like Ethereum did. Right? Last cycle, Ethereum dumped 95%, right? Basically from 2018. Then when it bounced back, because it went like what, under $100, then bounced back, went to 4K. So maybe Solana could do just the same thing, because people think in a bear market, people always think it's the end of the world. That's the best time to buy low, buy the dip. Now, just like how Polygon was under $1, under a penny, and you had over a year and a half to accumulate before it bounced back and went to 276, 280, almost $3. So the question is, can SOL do that? I think if any altcoin could do that, it's one that's going to be well capitalized, and it's one that's been there, done that before. And I think SOL potentially I think SOL has that potential. All right, but let me know what you think down below in the comments. But yeah, those are your coin picks for the month. So we got Polygon, Solana, Polkadot as the top three, followed by Cardano and Avalanche. All right, so question of the day. Oh, this should really be question of the year. Are you bullish on 2023 for crypto? Do you think we're going to have a return of the bull market, or are we very, very bearish heading into 2023? So the options are yes, no, or don't know. So I'll tell you what I think. So, I mean, right now we're still in a bearish market. So entering next year, we got to be in a bearish market, risk off. But so this is where investors kind of differ, especially value investors, deep value investors. You have a camp that believes in looking at the macro to determine whether you should invest or whether the market is going to be good. Then you have one camp that doesn't look at the macro. And for me, I would say I'm more in the camp of not looking at macro, honestly, right? Most because one of the people I really respect the most in terms of value investing, Howard Marks, does not look at macro at all. And because if you're purely looking at macro to invest, you can miss golden opportunities. For example, you could miss Solana down 95%. You could miss Polygon last market cycle because we're in a bear market, right? Or you can miss, let's say, if we go back to our investor grades, because you want to be more of a sniper. If you're sniping, the market does not care. You're looking for an opportunity. You can find opportunities in bull markets and bear markets if you know where to look. But if you have the stance that we're in a bear market, we can't make money, you miss any chance to make money in a bear market, right? So let's say, for example, Ethereum has bottomed. but we're still in a bearish market. Maybe now's the time to accumulate ETH. And then let's say Solar Network has bottomed, and now this is the next big coin for the next cycle when the multi-chain narrative becomes big. And Stellar becomes one of those coins that bridges all these chains and these dApps. But let's say you missed that because you were not looking, because you're on the sidelines in stablecoins or in cash. So that's why I don't really like to look at the macro, because the macro can blind you. The macro is basically you're trading, you're following the big narratives for the economy. But if you're looking for a particular small niche or sector where there's a bull run, you'll miss that if you're looking purely at macro. Now, I did share this tweet with in our private alerts channel. Let me actually pull this up here. It was from a guy on Twitter called Kofi. He's an on-chain analyst. Recommend you guys follow him. But let me actually go through what he was describing. This is kind of a good summary on the macro, and then I'll kind of give my response to how I viewed the market. But basically, he goes something like this. Over the past year, you might have seen a lot of chatter on crypto Twitter timeline about US interest rates, inflation, and CPI, and thought, what does this mean for my bags? But you were too afraid to ask, right? No worries. Here's an Eli 5 on how US monetary policy drove this cycle. So basically, he goes on to say that basically the US is a large player in crypto. Lots of the market is in the US. And basically, the US was printing a lot of money. The USD supply, the money supply, grew 26%. And basically, people had to start chasing returns because inflation was going up, right? A steep rise in inflation in 2021. Right? So basically, narrative is my cash is losing value because of inflation. I need to buy assets that are appreciating in value faster than inflation is rising. And he basically showed this chart on DeFi Llama showing the yield for DeFi versus US inflation. Right? So basically, demand pumped token prices, which pumped DeFi yield, which attracted capital to DeFi protocols to capitalize on that yield. Right? Monetary expansion and inflation played a big role in launching the DeFi bull market. But good times don't last forever. Right? High interest rates also lead to higher treasury yields. So investors move money from other assets into treasuries. And basically, if we skip down here, the trade-off basically began in April 2022, where the median DeFi yield fell below the yield of one-year US Treasury bills. Right? So at this point, sophisticated investors who were forming DeFi yields had access to US Treasuries were faced with a big decision, right? To either reallocate capital or miss out on gains. Right? So basically, they're basically arbitraging the yield between crypto, DeFi, and US Treasuries. But once the yields decreased, the bull run kind of stopped. Right? So pretty insightful thread. Kind of gives you a very high-level overview on what happened. Basically, money supply QE, quantitative easing, happened. That money caused inflation. People had to beat inflation. They had to find riskier investments that had better returns and chase the yield and all that. Okay, all right. So that's kind of one narrative in terms of how the macro happens. But why I say that the macro does not matter. Our goal is to find alpha, to find value, and you can find that independent of the macro. I don't need QE to help me make a return in crypto, right? So if you're looking purely at the macro, you'll miss out on the money-making opportunities. That's why for me, I just look for value investing, deep value investing. Because if something is valued at a particular FDV or price, and you get it at a steep discount, and you know eventually it's going to go back to that price or do a 10x from that price, why does the macro matter? Right? It only matters if you're trying to time the entry, but timing the entry is a fruitless game because one, it's very hard to do. Your goal is to get approximately close to the entry and to just accumulate. So that's the way I like to play that. So if we follow that same narrative, are we bullish for 2023? I would say yes, because if we're looking at all these different prices and all these different crypto assets, they have been getting killed, right? Lots of altcoins are down 90, 95%, if not even more, from all-time high. So if we can find products that have great technology, so going back to seller, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but these projects we covered here, right? If we can find projects that have good fundamentals, good technology, that are undervalued, I mean, that's really the buying opportunity, not financial advice. But for example, right? So this is how I play this, irrespective of the market or the macro. Good fundamentals, good technology, good value. All three over 80, definitely worth keeping on a watch list. And at this point, you're basically just waiting to see whether you want to get in now or whether you want to accumulate over time. But this is the definition of deep value investing. And then you can look for additional points of confluence and look for narratives as well, because narratives do play a big factor in crypto. So why this to me is very attractive is, besides all these grades being good, the narrative of a multi-chain world. So we talked about if the future of crypto is multi-chain, going back to this, right? So basically we basically have Ethereum, but we're basically going to app chains, I believe, and the multi-chain world, right? So we have L2s. When it comes to L2s, we have Arbitrum, Polygon, Optimism, and we also, right? So that's one aspect. Then we have non-EVM, or maybe EVM/non-EVM competitors for a multi-chain world. So we have Cosmos, we have Polkadot, we have Layer 0, we have Celestia. So if this becomes the next big narrative, if you had even other L1s who are competitors, right? Sui, Say Network for DeFi, Aptos. But if multi-chain is the big narrative for next cycle, how do we build a portfolio that gets exposure to that? Right? So you have the L1 or the block, or rather you have the L0, the base layer exposure. You could have the L1 exposure. You could have the L2 exposure, and you could also have the infrastructure Web3 exposure. So all those, I think, are ways you could play the market. So quick recap: bearish heading into Q1, but bullish on crypto, bullish on being able to snipe and find ways to still make money in a bearish market. So I think we can still do well next cycle, right? So basically, we find those good investments, those good trades using tokenmetrics, and we also preserve our capital. We find what assets are not worth holding, right? So we talked about how, surprisingly, you're better off holding Ethereum. I'm sorry, you're better off, if I go back here, holding Tron and Monero, surprisingly, versus Bitcoin, versus Ethereum. So had you known that, your portfolio might not be as wrecked. Or maybe you just leverage our signals, right? If you're trading this, if you just leverage our signals to, for example, get out back in April on seller, and then wait for this to dip. But that's how I'll be playing the market, right? So long story short, I am still bullish for 2023. But let's see what people have said in the comments below. Let me check the comments. This was great, Alpha. Thanks for doing the walkthrough. I think I already read that. Bongani says, would love to know more about the TM trade alerts. The alerts, so if you want to do alerts, you would just come here, add this to watch list, and basically you can get Telegram alerts. You have to connect to the Telegram bot for that. And basically you just put in when you'd want us to, so let's say you want us to give you an alert when it's just below 75, for instance. Or let's say you're doing Solana, right? And it's a 75. You want it to give you an alert when it goes above 80, and you know that that's a good time to buy, then I would do that. Okay, all right. So let me see. What are the comments we've got? Steph says NFTs seem like a more bullish proposition than coins. NFTs are down like 99% as well. I mean, they've been wrecked. I think the way I view it is you want to have a diversified portfolio. So I've covered this in videos before in the past, but in the same way how an investor would diversify into equities, into real estate, into art, into commodities, crypto now, you can do the same thing. Crypto now, you have asset classes in crypto. So you can invest in altcoins, you can invest in art through NFTs. So I think having exposure to NFTs and crypto or altcoins and other investments makes sense. So I would have both. Like I still have my Bored Apes, my Mutants, my other deeds. So I would look into that, right? I have doodles, bullish on doodles. Actually, if we go to Crypto Slam, looking at this NFT data, let's look at the last 30 days, just to kind of see how the NFT market has been trending. Okay, so NFT collections ranking by sales volume. All right, so we've got Bored Apes, Mutants, Azukis, other deeds. So pretty much the same. Bored Apes has been dominating. Clonex, Sorare, Valhalla. Okay, interesting. Doodles. I mean, so without kind of delving too deep into this, I think the value in NFTs is in blue chip NFTs. So the ones I have, Bored Ape, Mutant, Other Deed. I don't have Bored Kennel. Doodles. I'm bullish on that. I had Murakamis, but that hasn't fared too well. It's been getting killed, honestly. Yeah, it's not even in the top 50 anymore. Yeah, I mean, what the heck is Murakami? It's not even here. But I mean, that's for NFTs. I would stick to blue chip NFTs because I think next market cycle, those are the ones that will potentially still be around because NFTs are even riskier than altcoins. All right. Steph says the bottom will be sometime in summer 2023. Okay, curious to know why. Ola says bullish, yes, because the Fed must pivot by April. All right, thanks for sharing that. Grandpa Rock says I'm bullish. The bear market is bearish. Ahmed says I use Arbitrum as an indicator. If they launch their token, the bull run is on. They are connected. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, Brad Elliott says thanks heaps, Ian and team, for these informative videos. It helps me get a grasp on Token Metrics platform and how to navigate and best use it. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely here to help people better leverage our platform. Because I mean, once you become an expert in how to use the platform, you can find ways to just snipe the market. I mean, because this is just us sitting down today, just going through, looking at, okay, what's a good way to play the market long term? What's a good way to play the market short term? So view Token Metrics. The way I like to describe Token Metrics, somebody said to explain it as if you're 5, right? So imagine having a haystack with a needle inside that haystack. And that needle is the alpha. It's the insight that will help you make a 5x, 10x, 100x return, maybe even 1000x return. So how do you find that needle inside the haystack? You can go around looking forever, throwing away every single hay, or you can use our platform, our technology, our AI to help you find that needle in a haystack in a fast manner. So that's the way I view the platform, right? So we could sit there trying to sift through a huge data dump, or we can just say, okay, you know what? Looking at all these thousands of coins, the potential needle in the haystack could be seller network. So I look into it, but I still do my research. I still do due diligence. I'm not just blindly investing into seller network. I'm looking to see, okay, why does a platform think this is a needle in a haystack? The fundamental grade was rated high. the technology grade was high, the valuation grade was high, meaning that it's undervalued. And then looking at the website, it has a good narrative for the next cycle. So that tells me, okay, you know what? Put this on a watch list and do further research into this and potentially accumulate this in this bear market. And then on the trading side, same exact thing. I'll basically see, okay, what are the trading opportunities? We talked about Velo. Why is it doing well? It's on optimism. Maybe people have been playing it in optimism. I also noticed that there's almost 10x the volume in Korea, which tells me, okay, is Korea pumping this? Is this a pump and dump? So I have to now do research and see, is there actual fundamental data on this, or is this a pump and dump, right? So I'm still kind of on the fence, right? Because I don't see why it has 10x the volume in Korea, in the Korean won versus other pairs and other exchanges. But going to Twitter, we also saw that it's the second most active. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that was Seller, but it was active on Optimism compared to other projects, right? Going back to Seller, we also saw on chain. There's been growth according to DAppRadar in terms of their protocol. So worth looking into to see if the fundamentals are changing, right, based on this activity here. And then we also saw that on Twitter, according to Lunar Crush, it was the second most active Polkadot ecosystem project. So worth looking into, what are they doing in Polkadot with Polkadot and Seller in terms of interoperability? So all these are different nuggets for me to do research further into to see, okay, is this really worth holding long term? But this is how the platform helps you find those needles in a haystack very, very quickly, helping you avoid having to go through every single hay. Akin says, if there's a major market crash in Q1 over the next 3 to 4 months, what is the TM timeline for recovery? If there's a major market crash, I mean, basically, if we're going into a huge recession and the whole economy goes down, we'll be in risk off for a long time. Recovery, I mean, I think recovery post FTX is going to take a while. Hard to say, but honestly, I would not even care about the recovery. I would just focus on, just assume all of 2023 is going to be a bearish market, but still be committed to finding the alpha in the bearish market. That's the mindset I would have. I would not just wait for a bull market where anybody can make money. Because if you learn how to make money in a bear market, you can make money for the rest of your life. All right, so that's what I would focus on. All right, moving on. Let's go to, I believe, the AMA. All right, so let me close the voting. Okay, all right. So the question people want me to answer the most is Coinbase undervalued here with FTX and Crypto.com out of the picture? With FTX is going bankrupt, or they've gone bankrupt. Crypto.com is still in business, to my knowledge, unless something happened today that I missed out on. But I know there was FUD on Crypto.com and FUD on Binance, but to my knowledge, nothing official has happened. Let me take a look. Yeah, see here, I guess they put out a thread on the building never stops. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really. Yeah, I wouldn't take that seriously. So basically, is Coinbase undervalued? I believe Coinbase is down, what, 90%? So if we go to trading view, I mean, it's tough to say because I'm not really a stock guy, but I mean, relative to where they're launched, I mean, being down 90%, yes. If you're bullish on crypto long term, definitely good. But I mean, it's an equity company. The market cap is lower than Dogecoin. So would I risk it and accumulate a stock? I don't think so, because I think you can find the same, if not better, returns in crypto. So why go to equities, right? So if we go to, where is this? Okay, yeah, Coinbase. So let's zoom out. And I'm not really a TradingView user, but let's look at this here. Yeah, so it dropped from like basically 260 to 30 bucks. All right. The earnings have been going down. Looking at this every quarter, right? So yeah, it's basically down 86% in the last 1 year. Technicals are saying to sell, and let's have it rated as neutral. They're saying 1 year price target, I think based on what on analysts on the forecast, is to double. So I'm actually click see forecast. All right, so this is from TradingView. Okay, yeah, this is much better. So most analysts are neutral on this. Okay, I like this forecast chart they have here. Okay, this is interesting. Let me. Hold on, sorry guys. Let me just share this with our team. Give me 1 second. But what do you guys think about Coinbase? Do you guys think it makes sense to buy a stock when you can invest in crypto? All right. I mean, I'm not sure that makes any sense. All right. I am. Yeah, because right now it's saying this can go to basically $200, which would be almost 500% return. But I mean, why take the risk when you can do it in crypto? But let's say you want to diversify outside of crypto, which, okay, makes sense. So yeah, I mean, maybe this is a good risk to reward opportunity. Looking at this even further, I mean, if you are ever, let's say you want to have Coinbase in your portfolio, yes, the best time to buy it is going to be in a bear market when the revenues are down, because they're heavily dependent on the crypto bull market. That's when they make the most money, and that's when you get the best return. But the question is, looking at this, they're targeting what, a 5x? So let's say they're at 72 bucks. Let's say it goes back to all-time high, which was what, 342? Yeah, you're just looking at a 5x return. And so you basically have to believe it's going to exceed their all-time high. Yeah, because I mean the all-time high came from their IPO or their direct listing. Going down, looking at revenue, yeah, they've had 3 poor quarters. Right. So in terms of, you have to basically buy low, maybe now, or maybe accumulate now and sell at the top of next cycle. But I mean, for a 5x return, I'd rather invest in crypto. That's kind of my take on it. But going back to, let me see what the question was. Yeah, so I think Coinbase is undervalued relative to where it can be. I think if you think it can go back to next all-time high, because who's going to compete with them as a publicly traded crypto exchange? We had FTX, which was rumored to potentially go public next cycle, but obviously that did not happen. So now you have Coinbase and Binance. Binance is not going to go public in the US anytime soon or ever until they clean up their compliance challenges and issues. But so who's their actual competitor? Because I keep on hearing in the news and the media reporting about how Coinbase was, how FTX was the second biggest crypto exchange, but I don't think that was true. Based on what data? Right? Because not based on web traffic, was it based on AUM or assets under management? But they were a derivatives exchange. So maybe from that aspect, but I think Coinbase was bigger than FTX from one evaluation perspective, right? Binance and Coinbase had higher valuations. So actually, do we have a web traffic? Let me see if I can get a chart comparing crypto exchange traffic. Give me a second here. Okay, so this is from December 7th. Let me see if I can open this in a browser. I'm just going to open my Telegram. Yeah, this is from ICO Analytics. Yeah, okay, so can this zoom in? Yeah, here we go. All right, so this is from last month. So in terms of web traffic, Binance is number one, 81 million. More than twice as much as Coinbase, 35 million. Bybit, Huobi, Whitebit, FTX. Like FTX was never number two based on web traffic, not based on. So that's what I'm saying. Like when this is the second biggest exchange, was it based on valuation? Maybe, but Coinbase and Binance were higher in valuation, unless they were factoring in the valuation of Coinbase being a public company and the fact that it crashed. So maybe from that aspect. But in terms of competition, I don't really see any of these companies going public. I mean, so after FTX, the scrutiny is going to be even higher. So yes, Coinbase is undervalued. So it might be the only company to go public for a while in crypto. Now, somebody's mentioned that they prefer buying crypto mining companies. I mean, even that, I would be very hesitant because basically you're buying a Bitcoin mining company because crypto is going, or rather I should say Ethereum has gone proof of stake, and almost every new altcoin or L1 is going proof of stake. So do you want to, if Bitcoin dominance is going down and the price of Bitcoin is going down, and let's say you believe Bitcoin is old news, do you want to invest in Bitcoin mining companies? Maybe because I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, but it's not a risk I would take. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. All right, next question. Do you think Chainlink is overrated? Not the tech, but the token. All right, good question. Let's take a look using token metrics. Okay, we put in link, Chainlink. Okay, so not the technology, just the token. I mean, last time I looked at this, I would say yes, but let's see what the platform says. Team investing rate 72%. It's up almost 20%. So maybe it's potentially getting close to a bottom. I would wait for this to get to 80%, or maybe like 75, 80% to start really thinking about accumulating this. But it's getting there. FTV 5.5 billion. But yeah, I mean, good technology, great. Fundamental is pretty good. Valuation weight is very, very low. Now, the way you would kind of look at this, now we do have our AI-based investment reports. This actually has pretty good info on Chainlink. But the main reason why, okay, let me actually read this for you guys. And give me feedback on what you guys think, right? So I'm going to skip straight to tokenomics. Chainlink has over 49% of its supply in circulation. With over half of the supply in circulation, investors can be confident that there will not be any sudden price decreases caused by token inflation. Chainlink's least impressive metric is its liquidity ratio. A liquidity ratio of 6.4% puts investors at risk of not being able to exit their position due to lack of liquidity. Okay, hold on. So give me 1 second here. Yeah, I mean, if basically Chainlink is the largest oracle out there. So if you're looking for exposures to oracles in your portfolio, do you want to invest in the largest one? If so, how high do you think this can go? Could this do a 5x, 10x next cycle? Is that worth investing in? Or are you better off investing in an oracle that has good fundamentals, good technology, that's way undervalued? Looking at this, I'm trying to see if there's a better alternative to invest in this. I'm seeing Stellar, Litecoin, 1 inch. Yeah, I mean, so Chainlink is not bad. Looking at this, it's not the end of the world being in Chainlink. If we look at Chainlink dominance, it's currently at 549. Current dominance is 0.33%. If we say crypto market is eventually going to hit 10 trillion market cap, if it stays the same with the dominance, it's saying Link can go to $67 from the current price. That is basically looking at about let's round up, right? Let's say it's $6. This is 66. We're looking at basically an 11x return. If it stays at its current dominance level over the next cycle, and if we're targeting a $10 trillion market cap, so an 11x return. Now, this is where we kind of level up even more, but then we have half the supply has to hit the market. So 50% of the token is going to hit the market and cause selling pressure on Link. And then if you also factor in, the dominance will actually go lower because every cycle, every month, new altcoins are entering the market. So I think this dominance will actually go even lower unless it can really, really do well. Right? So if anything, it would actually be good to know the historical dominance of this over time. But let's say if you factor in new altcoins hitting the market, new competition next cycle for oracles, so I would say let's play it safe, right? So what's the base? Let's give it a range, right? So I would have this. So worst case, $33. So if we say that's what, we're basically looking at a 6x return as the base case, as the worst case scenario, right? I want to give you guys a range. Or best case, if it really moves, let's say it goes to almost 0.5% Link dominance. If it goes to $100, that's this is what let's say slightly under 20x return. But let me see, 18 times 6. Very much. 16, 17x, let's say 17x return. So basically, worst case, 6x return on your money. If you factor in that its current dominance will decrease, half of the tokens will hit the market, causing selling pressure. Then best case, 17x return. Let's say for some reason they do incredibly well. It keeps on going up in dominance. We're looking at basically Link to $100. I know the Link army will like that. Obviously, looking at a 17x return on your money next cycle, if we go to 10 trillion, because let's say that's what we're assuming for the next cycle. And let's say the neutral case or the medium case is somewhere in the middle, basically 11x return. So that's the way I would view it. So if you ask yourself, do you believe that's undervalued? So the question is, do you think that's a return worth having? So if I go back to the summary, and if we go down to its volatility and performance, here Chainlink has a certainty ratio of 1.13 and average daily returns of negative 0.14. So Chainlink certainty ratio and average daily returns indicate that the volatility of the token is not very high, but neither are the returns. Okay, and then this is an error we have to fix. I'm going to work on that. But basically, I mean, potentially, right? It's potentially undervalued. If you're looking for a large cap that can potentially do a 15x return or more next cycle, it's not bad. If you want something that can do a higher return than that, then it is overvalued. So that's how I would play that. Thoughts on Phantom developments and under Crony's recent Medium articles shared on Twitter. I've not read his articles on Twitter, but I think I heard him say that he's back again. I'm not sure if anybody can confirm that, but I mean, is he back? Is he not back? Let me just skim down here. Okay, Lee says link staking just went live. Okay, that's definitely a good thing to know. That will help the fundamentals. All right, so let's look at Phantom. All right, so let's say where can Phantom go next cycle? So we're doing a crypto price predictions. All right, so I will just come to the platform here. I come to investor, and this is under scenario analysis. So we got Phantom at basically 20 cents. Current market cap, $500 million. FDV, 625 million. Current dominance, 0.06%. Now, if we're saying we think crypto will go to $10 trillion market cap, that's what predictions are by, I believe, the World Economic Forum for 2027. So that gives us basically what, about 5 years. So a current dominance of 0.06. So if we go from if we say 242 divided by what, under 0.2, we're looking at a neutral case of about a 12x return or so, 11 to 12x. If we shift to worst case, 121, 6x, worst case, 12x, base case, neutral case, 363. So 18x best case. All right, so basically we got a range of 6 to 18x return. So is that something we think that's possible? Is that something we think that's doable? Investor grade 76%. I think I would wait till it goes over 80 to potentially begin accumulating if you like that, based on the fundamentals. If we actually go to DeFi Llama, looking at the chain data, Phantom has a lot of protocols. Looking at this, and has better TVL versus Solana. So Solana is getting wrecked. Phantom is still doing all right. TVL of 414 million. You can actually view number of protocols that I have. Why is this not changing for me? Give me a few seconds here. Is my browser freezing? All right, there we go. So Phantom, in terms of number of protocols, it's 5th, behind Avalanche and ahead of Arbitrum. In terms of change, is this right? I'm not sure why Polkadot has one. Okay, yeah, not sure what's going on there. All right, but TVL. Now, let's go and see what people are saying about Phantom on Twitter. So we've got what? FTM is their symbol. Yep. Okay, somebody posted a deep dive on Phantom. Let's see what he said here. Yeah, Phantom peaked at 8 billion TVL on March 2022. Okay, all right, going back to the token page here. So, I mean, it's down 90% from in the last 1 year. If you're gonna go back to this, I mean, technology is decent. Fundamental is decent. Valuation is okay. But I mean, yeah, I don't think it's something I would risk. Now, maybe if I read the post he published, things might be different. But you're basically risking a worst case 6x return, best case 18x return, assuming all those assumptions we're making. I think you can get that same range from a project that has less volatility, from a large cap that has less volatility, where the dev is not coming and going, all right, where he kind of not. I mean, I've talked to Andre once or twice. I missed out on Phantom, but I think if you're looking for 6 to 18x return, you can find that in a large cap with less volatility. It's going to be objective. That also has, because going back to this, right? Honestly, I think if anything, you might be better off in Solana. Solana has been hit. Let's actually see where Sol could go. I mean, talk about beginning a war, Solana or Phantom. But let's look at the scenario analysis. All right, so we got current price, let's say basically $10. Right. So yeah, 6x return. Right. If we round up to $60, 6x as the worst case. We've got basically 11x base case, 17x as the best case. 17x, so basically 6 to 17x return on Solana. Solana has I think Solana has been hit a lot lower, and I think Solana can bounce back a lot higher. That's why, if I had to decide between the two, I think Solana is getting a lot of FUD. But I think once we know what's going to happen with the 10% of the SOL that Alameda FTX own, and once that, let's say SOL goes down even lower, right? Here's the thing, right? Let's say SOL goes down to $5, right? Let's say SOL goes down to $1. I think that is deeply undervalued, and these returns will be even way better, right? So let's actually, I'm going to show you how I would do this, right? So if we go to our levels, right, we said SOL basically is at $9 something. We're not really seeing any levels till 0.69. I'm not sure why. I guess it's not really counting this. But let's say, let me still find this. Let's say SOL goes to $5. If SOL goes to $5, how does that impact all of this? Right, $5 to 60. Worst case, if it goes down to this dominance, and we go to $10 trillion crypto market cap, right? And just $5, 60, basically 12x return. If we go to 115, let me just 115 divided by 5, 23x return. And if we go to 172, $34x return. So basically, worst case 12x, best case 34x return on your money. I would take those odds. I would take that bet over. I'd rather bet on Solana bouncing back than Phantom bouncing back, is basically what I'm saying. Especially if Solana drops down to $5. That's a bet I'm willing to take for the next market cycle. Now, I believe both of these projects will be around, but I would have to really look into Phantom to see how it's faring once Andre left, and now with him coming back, because you don't want a protocol to depend on just one person, one dev. Like Ethereum, yes, it had Vitalik as a chief scientist, but he's just said he's a scientist. The ecosystem is so large, there's lots of activity. So I would like to see how dependent Phantom is on Andre Cronje and what happens next. But let me know what you guys think down below. Are you seeing an echo bubble around summer 2023? An echo bubble? Not sure what that means. Haven't really heard that term. Pardon me, but let's see what that means. Bubble? Like a like a like a mini bull run, you mean? Is that what that means? Yeah, Fly says $2 to $5 Sol is a buy. Lee says Sol versus FTM is tough. With all the C5 failures, DeFi will boom next cycle. Sol has so much sell pressure and FUD though. Okay, an echo bubble is a post-bubble market rally that results in another smaller bubble. The echo bubble occurs in the sector or market in which the preceding bubble was most prominent, but the echo bubble is less inflated and thus, hold on, what? I'm getting confused just reading this. So it's a post-bubble market rally that results in another smaller bubble. So it's a bubble on a bubble. So basically, it's just a bubble. But anyway, jokes aside, going back to the question. So basically, do I see a bubble on a bubble in summer 23? So basically, I think to rephrase your question, are you asking, are we going to see like a DeFi summer all over again or some big narrative? I mean, who knows? Anything is possible in crypto. But I mean, crypto moves in narratives. I think there's always a big narrative that is the initial catalyst. So from having DeFi Summer to DeFi Summer 2.0, because DeFi Summer is basically Uniswap V2. Then we had DeFi Summer 2.0 with Olympus DAO and protocol-owned liquidity. Then you had what? NFTs. Do you want to call it NFT Summer with Bored Apes and Mutants and all that, and Yuga Labs and CryptoPunks. So what's the next big narrative is the question. There's always a big narrative. Like even in the bear market back in like 2019, the narrative at that time were launchpads. Basically, you had exchange launchpads. You had Binance launchpad products that were doing well. You had like Polygon Matic launching and some others. Then we had Metaverse with Axie Infinity. So the question is, what is the next big narrative? So if we had to think about that, I talked about base layer and basically multi-chain and interoperability. The catalyst for that could be potentially Arbitrum launching a token. I know somebody mentioned that in the chat. Now it depends on the FDV because hopefully they don't launch it in a silly way like Optimism, where only 4% of the supply is liquid and 96% of the tokens have to hit the market. Basically becomes a Ponzi token. And then I think looking at all these other L1s and L0s base layer projects launching and how they compete in a multi-chain ecosystem and environment, I think that could be a big narrative. I think maybe Yuga Labs with their metaverse, that could potentially be one big catalyst that could potentially bring NFTs back, because you have to have a 0 to 1 improvement. Like the book by Peter Thiel, you have to have a 10x improvement in technology by that order of magnitude to really warrant people coming back into crypto and chasing that narrative, right? So with gaming, you had basically Axie Infinity doing what, 1000x return. That made people look twice and 10 times more at gaming and say, okay, what's the next Axie? Then with DeFi, same thing. People began making a killing with DeFi yields and yield farming, and that brought in more capital. So what is the big narrative that you have to have a success story with that narrative to have people begin looking at it and paying attention to it, to have capital come into it, right? So maybe your project does 100x return with the multi-chain narrative. Like let's say the Arbitrum airdrop. Here's an example, right? Let's say the Arbitrum airdrop is a 6-figure airdrop, and people who are testing out Arbitrum on testnet or maybe using GMX on Arbitrum, right? Let's say they make 6 figures on that airdrop. That's the catalyst that will get people to come back into crypto or back into Arbitrum and start looking for, okay, what's the next big airdrop, or what's the next big multi-chain to do something similar. So whether it's Sui, Aptos, Say Network, or whatever, I think that could be one catalyst. That if that happens, let's say towards the end of spring, or maybe in summer 2023, that could be an eco bubble if that's what you're asking. Or let's say, actually, when is the other side metaverse launching? Is it next month? Let me see if I could pull that up. Does anybody know the date? If we say other side, okay. Yeah, anybody know the exact launch date for this, for other side? I mean, let's say that's the first metaverse to really go mainstream and hit the zeitgeist and get non-crypto people into it. I mean, and people make money on it, selling other deeds. I mean, that could be a huge catalyst. Or let's say somebody makes the first game. Let's say it's not other side. Let's say it's some other game that goes mainstream and that takes NFTs and crypto to the moon and brings people into it, right? So you have to have a narrative followed by a success story that causes people to start paying attention to that narrative and looking for the next winner, right? So that's what I would look for. Okay, market cap wise, what will be the peak average valuations of the top 20 coins, not including BTC, ETH, and stables? Kind of hard to answer that question, but I would just use the scenario analysis on our platform, as I mentioned here, basically looking at all of this to give you a guide on what to do, right? But in general, if you go back in time since what, 2013, since crypto was launched and there was a market for it, the top 20 coins have always been a game of musical chairs. They really stay the same. So I would assume that next cycle, they'll be different. Because if you go back to, can I actually even do this? I think it's Gecko, CoinMarketCap should have historical top 20 market cap for different. But I assume like what? Worst case, I'll say best case 25% are out or change. Worst case, I would say 60% or more change. Okay, is it not CoinMarketCap? Okay, let me try Coin. Let me try CoinMarketCap. Can I filter by date? Nah. Okay, all right. But you guys can just Google that and get that. But basically, I would assume most of it is going to change. So if we're looking at this, let me close this. So what projects do I anticipate to not be in the top 20 anymore? Let me just go back to your question real quick. What would be the peak average valuations of the top 20 coins, not including? So, I mean, I would actually, not even looking at the coin, I would just look at what do we think the crypto market cap is going next cycle, right? So let's say we think it's going to 10 trillion. And actually, you know what? I would begin with, do I want to use BTC? I would use Ethereum BTC. And let's use that for the scenario analysis, because I think Ethereum is going to replace Bitcoin and become the dominant cryptocurrency. So I would rather use that for the scenario analysis. But anyway, Plus, I think Ethereum is a better proxy for altcoins versus Bitcoin. All right, so 10 trillion. We're looking at this, right? Let's say it's what, 1200 and 7200, just to round numbers. Okay, so basically we're looking at worst case, all top 20 crypto assets do a 7x return, kind of with a range up and down. Neutral case, we're looking at a 14x return, basically. Or I'll say like 13x maybe, because it's kind of under. And then a 21x return, or 20x return. So basically, we're looking at 7 to 20x return. And so peak valuation would be a 20x return on current valuations, which does sound kind of high for ETH, but let's just say for altcoins, we're looking at that. So going back to this, so that means if BNB does a 20x return from current prices, right, that would give us, do we have FTV? Customize, where's, yeah, I don't need all that. All right, so BNB, 50 billion, FTV times 20 is what, a trillion? Yeah, XRP has been consistently in the top 20, surprisingly. Dogecoin, I think, will stay there. Cardano, surprisingly, hasn't really left. It's always been there. Polygon, I think Polygon will stay there. DAI, yes. I mean, I would expect Tron to fall out, but they've been consistently there. Polkadot, Litecoin will be out of the top 20, I think, eventually. Shiba Inu, I think Shiba will stay in there, surprisingly. Uniswap, yeah. I think 19 Leo will be out. Wrap Bitcoin. So we got what? 1, 2. Wow, I'm only seeing 3 coins I think that can go out. But looking at this, what projects enter the top 20 market cap that were new from last cycle, right? So we had 1 Avalanche, looking at this, Solana, Uniswap, when they launched their airdrop, Shiba Inu. Polkadot launched like 2018. So that's kind of on the fence. So that's 4. Polygon is 5. So like 25% were actually new coins looking at this. So let's say that stays the same. I think Litecoin is going to be out because it's been dead ever since Charlie Lee sold the top. Leo, Bitfinex's token or stablecoin. No, yeah, the token. I'm not sure if it's even useful at all, but I would expect that to be out. I mean, DAI is a stablecoin. I feel like it's been displaced by BUSD and USDC. So honestly, I would not be surprised if DAI keeps on going lower. Because now, I mean, what, 2/3 of DAI is backed by USDC anyway. So it's really becoming a centralized stablecoin. So looking at 3 coins that I think would fall out of the top 20. But I would just, to keep things simple, multiply the top 20 by 7 to 20x return to get the peak I think is going to be under 20x. If you want to just kind of get an average to answer your question. Okay, we're almost getting to the top of the hour, but let's see if I can answer a few more questions, then we can wrap up. Has the team looked into CRV liquidity competitors solidly DEX? Yeah, I think we did. I think this is the one that was building on Phantom, right? Solidly. Then I think wasn't there like a rug pull or a crash based on, I think it crashed when Andre Cronje stepped down. I think people were yield farming it or something. Is this the one? Yeah, solidly.exchange. And it doesn't seem to be liquid looking at this. So we can't really give it much of a grade. But we haven't looked too much into it, so I can't really answer that question much. Do you see it likely that projects like RSR, which is, I think, Reserve, and this Frax Finance, FXC, or this one DX, get regulated out of relevance somewhat like Tornado. FX, yeah, Frax share. I mean, Tornado was a privacy token and protocol, which we liked. We like the technology. Actually, let me see. Let me see what our technology grade is based on the new grade we have. Because before we looked at it based purely on technology, but tokenomics were horrible. Like even now, that's why it hasn't really done well. Yeah, so right now valuation grade is high, but fundamentals and technology are not good. The token is basically useless. It's basically just a governance token. That's kind of the downside. That's why it hasn't really done well. But I wouldn't be too concerned about Frax and others unless crypto regulation comes in and just tries to shut down stablecoins and algo stablecoins. But nothing has been made official or passed. There's just been speculation or politicians tooting their horns about wanting to regulate stablecoins, but nothing has officially been done about it. So I wouldn't ponder too much on that at the time being. All right. Any contrarian hot takes for the next couple of years? Always going to have hot takes. But I feel like the whole channel is a hot take, right? All the hot takes are kind of covered. Well, I mean, I think Bitcoin is old news. Bitcoin is archaic. It's dead. It's done for. There's no point in holding Bitcoin because its whole value prop was being a currency, which it's not really done well. I think stablecoins are better off. People would rather use stablecoins than Bitcoin as a currency. I think 2, store of value. There are better stores of value right now in the market, right? Because Bitcoin is down. We said what, 60%? You're better off holding Monero, which is down 30% versus Bitcoin. So why hold Bitcoin as a store of value? You're better off holding Tron, surprisingly. Tron was down what, 30% or 20% in the last 1 year versus Bitcoin? I mean, compared to Bitcoin and the market. So even Tron was a better store of value than Bitcoin. So I think if you really want to store value, I'd rather use stablecoins. If not a stablecoin, I'd rather use PAX-G, even if it's not that liquid, only about 10 million daily trading volume. PAX Gold has gone up, what, 0.5%? It's been a better store of value, that and stablecoins, than Bitcoin. And then 2, if you're looking to, let's say you don't want stablecoins, you want to find an altcoin that has good technology, good fundamentals to be a store of value, or that can be used as a currency. I think Ethereum, being deflationary after going to proof of stake, is a better currency to hold versus Bitcoin. So that's the other, I guess, hot take, but it's not really that hot of a take because I've talked about this since 2018. But the hot take, I get ready, drum rolls, is I think we're gonna get to a point where it doesn't make sense to hold Ethereum anymore. I think Ethereum will be the next Bitcoin. All right. So when Ethereum flips Bitcoin, there'll be no money to be made in holding ETH anymore. Yes, if you want to say you're in crypto, if you want to say you have the large cap, but I think that the same way I'm killing Bitcoin now, once that Ethereum flipping happens, the same way I'll be killing Ethereum, because we're looking for 10x, worst case, to 100x returns. So are you going to get that holding ETH? Yes, ETH will have great technology, will have a great ecosystem. 2/3 of cryptocurrencies and developers are in the Ethereum ecosystem building protocols on that, but there's no money to be made in that, right? If you're trying to find the next Solana that does a 1000x return, you won't get it in one cycle holding Ethereum or Bitcoin. That's why, to me, they're old news, they're history. So the hot take is, what is the next? So let me kind of give you kind of a tier structure or layers, right? So we had Bitcoin, old news, right? And the next Bitcoin ended up being Ethereum. And then what was the next Ethereum this cycle? Or I guess if you want to say last cycle, it was Solana. Solana came in, was the heavy contender with Ethereum, did a 1000x return. People made money on it. Now it's gone back down. So now the question is, Bitcoin old news, Ethereum becomes the new Bitcoin, meaning Ethereum becomes the new old news next cycle. No, basically, normies, people who are buying into crypto, buy Ethereum, don't make much money in it. They make maybe a 5-10x return. Not that good. But what's the next Ethereum? Will it be Solana? Will it be whatever? Let's say it's Solana, meaning that the same way Ethereum crashed last cycle, back in 2018, when it went from like what, over $1,000 down to under $100, then bounced back. This cycle went to like close to what, 4K or so. That could be the same thing with Solana or some other L1. But let's say we got Solana, we got Avalanche, we've got some other projects. But I think if we had to pick some, I would say those are the ones we're basically looking at, the ones that did well this cycle, because Ethereum dropped 95% in the last bear market back in 2018, 2019, and then hit a new all-time high. So what crypto asset can do the same like Ethereum did? Solana is down, guess what, 95% from all-time high. People think it's the end of the world. Yes, I'm bearish short-term. Next cycle, if they're able to bounce back, they could be the next Ethereum. So that's one to put as a hot take, I think. But then this goes to the next question. What's the next Solana? What's the next L1 or base zero, or what crypto protocol, what infrastructure project will do the next 1,000x return that hasn't launched yet? Right. So that's kind of the way I view the market is. You always want to be skating to where the puck is going, not to where it is, and definitely not to where it was, because otherwise you're going backwards, right? So Bitcoin is where it was, Ethereum is where it is, Solana was where it's going. Now they've shifted seats. Now Solana is going to go where Ethereum was this cycle. So what's the next Solana? So, I mean, I think the next return is going to have to be in the multi-chain world, because that's the big narrative I see everything is kind of gravitating towards. Because going back to this chart, right? So if we had to pick what can do a 1,000x return, then maybe, well, actually, because Solana did a 1,000x return from private sale price, so you have to basically be a VC or insider to get in. But let's say, because Solana launched on CoinList at, I believe, 90 cents. It went to all-time high of what, like 250 something? So over 200x return. Well, let's take Polygon. Polygon did 400x return from public markets. So what projects could do that? So I think, if anything, I think Polygon is going to be kind of like Polygon and Solana will be the next Ethereum for next cycle. So looking at basically about 10x return. But what project is undervalued that could do 100x return or more? I mean, if we're going multi-chain, let's first begin with EVM. Okay, so hot take, not financial advice, obviously. Take it with a grain of salt. But I would say this is a watch list for projects that I think could get pummeled or already pummeled now that could bounce back. I'm thinking Moonbeam, because I told you guys before, I'm bullish on the Cosmos ecosystem and bullish on Polkadot. And Moonbeam is working with both ecosystems. It's basically an EVM for Polkadot, but from our team going down to Cosmoverse, lots of Cosmo projects were bridging over to Polkadot to get into the multi-chain world using Moonbeam. Moonbeam was basically kind of like a bridge for both Polkadot and Cosmos ecosystem. So looking at that, if we let's actually do scenario analysis on Moonbeam. Let's see where this could potentially go. All right, so looking at this, so okay, TM investing grade saying 5%. It's up almost 20%. The price has been, it went from what, 1355. Technology grade is good. Fundamental grade is okay. Valuation grade is all right. Could be better, but definitely worth keeping on the watch list. But I want to go to the scenario analysis. I'm going to talk to our team and see if we can actually add the returns, the return multiples on this. I think that'll be better than having just the prices here. But let's look at a hypothetical world, right? Let's say it's 0.02% dominance is the current dominance. FDV is 350 million, right? So if we go from, so basically 33 cents to $4.07. Let me do the worst case. We got 203. This or not. So same thing. We got a 6x worst case. We go to 4 or 7, 12x, and 18x. Right. So if it stays the same, we got 6 to 18x return. But let's say we project that this is gonna do well next cycle. Once the tokenomics get better, as tokens hit the market, let's say it goes from 0.02 dominance to 0.03 or let's say 0.04 as the base case. Right? What does that give us? Let's do this math here. So we got 24x. But let's say, let me see how high this could go. Say if it goes to $20, so 61x. So if it goes to 40, that's 123x. So total equity market cap goes to 10 trillion. And it goes to 0.02%. Basically, it does a 10x in dominance, which is being a bit ambitious, but so that's one definitely I think worth watching, because the reason I like it is you kind of hedging both systems, Cosmos and Polkadot. So that's one way I would do that. Going back to, because if we're betting on the multi-chain narrative being the next big narrative, I would like to have at least 3 bets or 3 tickets to that game, right? So that way, I just need 1 out of 3 to do well, and I'm good. So I talked about multi-chain narratives. We got Moonbeam. Let's say we could go back to Cosmos. If we're looking at other EVMs, we've got Canto. Canto potentially could be one. I talked about in the past how that's undervalued. If I go back to this, so for Moonbeam to 100x from this FTV, it's going to be 35 billion FTV. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad. If we go to Canto, that's basically playing Ethereum EVMs and Cosmos. It's kind of the same thing. So looking at this, let's actually go to investor grade. 63%. Okay, it's not. Okay, we have fundamental grade. Don't have valuation or trader grade or technology grade. This is highly correlated with Mina, Arweave, and Aptos. We had Arweave and Canto on our watch list for the bear market, and Mina as well. Okay, scenario analysis. Yeah, right now it's like 0.00% dominance. But let's say this goes somewhere, right? So if we're playing, yeah, FTV 90 million. An EVM L1 on Ethereum with a 90 million, I'm sorry, for Cosmos that bridges over Ethereum dApps with a 90 million FTV. Tokenomics can be better, but assuming those tokens hit the market, inflation eventually reduces, going from basically what, 9 cents to, if we do the same thing, 10 trillion market cap, let's say it goes all the way down here. Let's see what. Yeah, same thing, 123x return. So Canto to $11. That's one other multi-chain I would put on the watch list, especially looking at all the Cosmos ecosystem EVMs. I think definitely worth looking into. Let's say you really like Near, maybe Aurora, also worth looking into. But tokenomics can be better, not that good. Okay, so that's one. So those are 3 potential EVM. chains that could do well next cycle. Now, if we go to non-EVM, so I said Solana, that's the non-EVM I would basically be looking at the most. We have Elrond, but hasn't really, I think Elrond has already done well. I don't know if it's going to keep on doing well, but okay, we've got Near. So yeah, will Near do well? Is Near the next Solana next cycle? I mean, I know it has lots of VC interest. Technology was good. Let's see what the new technology grade is for Near. Okay, so let me. Okay, we have no technology grade. Okay, I have to figure out why. But valuation rate is, yes, it's just okay, and fundamentals are good. But maybe Near is even worth. Yeah, I think if you're playing the non-EVM, because you gotta have bets, right? So if we're basically, thesis is the future is a multi-chain world. We have the EVM bets, so we have those that are going to bridge other blockchains. So we have basically, we said Moonbeam, maybe even Moon River, because those two kind of go hand in hand. Bridging Polkadot, Cosmos, and Ethereum, EVM. I think worth looking into, worth putting on the watch list. Then we had basically, actually losing my train of thought. Canto, right? Cosmos and Ethereum. Then I would also look at the L2s. Let's say that the multi-chain world stays on Ethereum. That's the other thesis, the other option that we have to bet for potentially, because you got to look at everything in probabilities. Is it probable it's going to be multi-chain across other chains, or just multi-chain on Ethereum with L2s? So on Ethereum, you got Optimism, you got Arbitrum, but it all depends on the FDVs. I think FDVs are very, very high. I don't think Optimism does that well. I think let's see how Arbitrum launches. If it launches with a very with most tokens illiquid, it's not good. It's going to dump too much selling pressure. Non-EVMs, Solana, I think is getting close to being deeply undervalued. So I would definitely consider that. We have Near. Aptos launch was overvalued, but worth looking at for next cycle. Let me just see the tokenomics for Aptos, because technology-wise and fundamental-wise, our models like Aptos. Okay, actually, yeah, tokenomics-wise, yeah, this is not going to happen. 90%, almost 90% of the tokens have to hit the market. Yeah, that's definitely not happening. Technology is good. Fundamentals are right. But yeah, Aptos is not it. Not to kill people's vibe. Okay, but if we had some other alternatives, yeah, I mean, not really seeing anything else. Okay, let's see here. If we go to roll up, yeah, looking at all these, I think ZK Sync is rumored to be having an airdrop as well. It'll be good to see what happens with that. We go to Cosmos. Yeah, we said Canto. Juno is on our list. FMOS was overvalued relative to Canto. But I think if we're going to play the whole multi-chain world, we're going to have to potentially have exposure to a DEX. If we go to Osmosis, there's a Cosmos ecosystem DEX, basically exchange. All right. After this, I'm going to have to wrap things up, but I definitely want to give you guys some hot takes in terms of how I'm viewing the space. Okay, FTV 700 million for Osmosis. Yeah, investor credit is not that good. Fundamentals, all right. Valuation below average. Technology, okay. Yeah, I would maybe look at. I would wait that one out. We've got what, Thorchain. Injective. Yeah, I don't think that's going to do well with Alameda or having that on their balance sheet. That I think that was basically it's basically wrecked now. If we go to Parachain, let's see what. Yeah, so I think if you're playing Polkadot, you basically got Moonbeam as one Akala actually. Actually, one thing I forgot. So we talked about Seller Network. Maybe that is the other hot take. I would have to look into it some more. But going to our investor grade for next cycle, I mean, maybe Seller Network could be that hot take. Maybe that could be because that does fit the multi-chain narrative. If we're looking to play the NFT ecosystem, I would look to see how the Blur token launches. They're doing their airdrop, I think early next month or in Q1. So I want to see if they do it in a smart way, if they have good tokenomics, if it's not just a Ponzi VC token. But if that's good, that could be worth looking into because looking at the on-chain data, Blur has. Now, let me actually pull this up here. If I was doing. Give me a minute. I'm going to pull up the dashboard that compares different NFT marketplaces. I believe I had shared this in the private alerts for our customers. Okay, maybe I did not share this. Where was this? Huh. Okay, yeah, I'm not finding this. Okay, here we'll just doing analytics. Yeah, it was one of their NFT dashboards. Okay, so we said NFT. Okay, let's see if this is the one I'm looking for. But yeah, I mean, basically in terms of market size, Blur has been trending upwards. Obviously, people could just be speculating and trying to firm the airdrop. So I want to see how it fares post airdrop. But if Blur, which is basically an advanced NFT marketplace for NFT traders, people who are very advanced, that could be a huge shift in the market. Okay, this is not what I want. Let's see if this is better. Okay, all right. So yeah, so here we're looking at, we have basically, before it was just purely an OpenSea world, then LuxRare launched with their token airdrop as well, gave OpenSea a run for its money. Right, basically this airdrop here. At one point we had 81% of trading volume was on LuxRare. People were trying to earn the token, and now it basically has come back down to reality. And now it's, if we go to as of now, LuxRare only accounts for about 6% of volume. So now OpenSea before was 95%, And now it only counts for 23% of volume. So it's getting pretty crowded. Then we had X2Y2. They also had an airdrop. It peaked at what? About 45% of volume. Now it's only 10%. So basically divide by like 4. And then this peaked at, Luxfer peaked at basically 80%. It's now 7%. So divide by 10. Damn. Okay, so let's like divide by 5 to 10. So if we've got Blur peaking at 49, let's say 50%, I think after post airdrop, we're basically looking at Blur dropping to 5% of trading volume or 10%. Yeah, basically 5 to 10%. Maybe best case 15% of trading volume. But I would say 5 to 10% would be the range I would expect Blur to kind of settle at, let's say 6 months post NFT airdrop or post their airdrop. But the space is getting very, very crowded. Then you got Magic Eden, which was a Solana NFT platform, then recently added Ethereum as well. Now, I don't believe they have a token, to my knowledge. Does Magic Eden have a token? Because I don't think we would have it on our platform if it, but maybe if they do an airdrop, Magic Eden. No token. Maybe that's one to look into, right? I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't launch a token. I know they raised funds via equity. Where am I trying to go? Let me just close all this. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else useful here. But I mean, I would. Okay, so in terms of hot takes, I think OpenSea will be supplanted going forward, because if they don't launch a token, the incentives are not there. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the way people have been very quick to go to other exchanges or other platforms that have tokens, from LuxRare to X2Y2 to now Blur. So now you have 3 NFT marketplaces. Then you also have SudoSwap as well. You have basically 4 marketplaces competing with OpenSea that are trying to get the incentives right to get people to come to their platform. So in the same manner of how you had Uniswap, Uniswap was forced to launch their own token because of Sushi. They had to compete. It was a defensive move. That was the right move. It was the dominant strategy from a game theory perspective. So I don't know how long OpenSea can last with no token. That's the hot take, because it just takes one of these NFT marketplaces to get the tokenomics right and the incentives right to surpass OpenSea. Because OpenSea, one, is centralized, and seeing how the market has fared with centralized entities, with FTX, with Celsius, with BlockFi, with Voyager, why do people want to trade NFTs on a centralized platform? And then when you factor in now that Uniswap is now also aggregating NFTs, people are looking for a decentralized way to trade NFTs. So I think OpenSea will be supplanted unless they launch a token and become as decentralized as possible. I think they're gonna. I'm not saying they're going bankrupt, but I'm saying they'll be supplanted as the market leader. All right, with that being said, those are my hot takes. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and definitely make sure to tune in next week. We typically like to go live around the same time, typically around, I think it's like around 11:30 to noon. I know it's a big range, but I'll say we like to target around 11:30 Central Time, which is 12:30 Eastern Time, which is New York time. Right now I'm in Austin, so I'm in Central Time. But we like to do this once a week. We also have the Astrobot alpha call every Monday. We won't have one this Monday due to New Year's. So Happy New Year, everybody. But typically that's done to ask about holders in the Discord via a Zoom. It's a private call. Then we have the premium customer webinar for those of you who are on the premium plan, which is kind of like this, but just private. So I highly recommend you join Tokenmetrics. Hopefully you guys got lots of value in seeing how I use the platform to find value. So even in the bear market, you can find different trade opportunities for short-term, but also long-term investment opportunities, because I don't think the macro matters, as mentioned. Alpha is alpha. You can find that in a bear market, especially. That's the best time to find the alpha. So what does the macro matter? Right? Macro helps us know maybe when to sell and take profits. But I think if you're focused on getting value, regardless of the market, you can do that. And I'm not sure if we still have a coupon code going. Let me double check. We might still have one, because I think it actually expires tomorrow. Let me just confirm. Give me 1 second. Yes, we do. All right. So the coupon code is holidays30. So when you go to Tokenmetrics to check out, this will give you a 30% discount on all plans. So I believe this expires this year. So you have basically till tomorrow. So I would highly encourage you to go check that out. If you liked how I was using the platform, definitely subscribe. Just go to tokenmetrics.com. And with that being said, thank you, everybody. And as we like to say,
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
the moon is not the limit to the moon and beyond. Happy New Year, everybody. It's been a great 2022. Looking forward to making lots of great returns with all of you. Looking forward to 100x returns, potentially, maybe even 1000x returns. But either way, we'll be here looking for those returns on Tokenmetrics Live. And Happy New Year to everybody, and see you next year. Bye.